friendos! If you clicked on this video today for 8 simple tips and tricks on recycling old oatmeal boxes, then friendo, you are in the wrong place. Alternatively, if you did click on this video so that you could see the new, beautiful Artist Couture palette that we see right here, well then you're in the right place. Just stay tuned. So first off, thank you all so much for joining me. If it's your first time here, hello, my name is Laurel. I'm a weirdo that likes to collect and experiment with really nice makeup. I'm not a pro MUA, so my perspective is from someone who just plays in makeup all the time. So yeah, I'm just a regular consumer. If something doesn't work easily, then I lose patience with it pretty quickly. And I tend to be kind of blunt when it comes to these makeup releases. No, I've never tried anything from Artist Couture before. I'm extremely excited about this palette though, because I think the color story is gorgeous. Is it that original? No, but nonetheless, I have heard lots of nice things about Artist Couture and I've never heard anyone who makes videos say anything bad about the brand. So hopefully today this will be no exception. We'll find out together. So starting off, I'm going to Sephora where I bought this. This retails for $45. It is a must-have eyeshadow and pressed pigment palette made of 12 richly pigmented modern mauve shades and 3 different finishes to create endless looks. Redefine the concept of mauves with this lavish new palette that's sure to reign supreme. This palette features 7 buttery mattes, 2 sparkly duochrome shadows, and 3 multi-dimensional high pearl finishes, and an array of mauve, berry, and neutral tones. All right, so there's my proof that I can read. So I'm just going to get into using the palette today. In this video, we're gonna save the swatches till the end this time, because you know we gotta mix it up. So friendos, let's get started. So the shade Overexposed that we see right here is about to go all over my lid. I'm using a Sonia G Classic Crease brush. So these shades have some pretty interesting names. I'll be going in with the shade Lust on my Sigma E65. So my sister and I were talking about this palette and we both kind of agree that this looks like a NARS palette. And judging by some of the names here, it really does feel like they took some inspiration from NARS. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen some of the shade names on NARS palettes where it's some desperate cougar trying to make provocative names that really stand out and make them seem cool? And then the rest of us are like, honey, I have heard it all before. Like they think they're gonna get us with a shock value, but all right, so the next one that we'll go in with is Royale. And I would say that is the true mauve shade of the palette. I'm going to use the same brush that I just used to do the inner part of my crease to do the outer. And despite the shades having some atrocious names, so far, all of the shades that I've used have gone on very nicely. They have a lot of pigment to them, and they're just blending out really nicely without me having to do very much work. So performance-wise, I'm impressed so far. So on my NJC E05, I'm gonna go in with the shade Prestige. Now I did get a little bit of like fallout / kick up on my face right under my eye. It's not bad, but it's not ideal either. So this shade is on the darker side. It's taking me a little bit longer to blend it out. So that's to be expected. Then on the same brush, I'm going to go in with the shade Audacious. I would say this is a true tan. Yeah, that one blended out instantaneously. It was no work at all. Next up, I'll be going in with the shade Risque. And I'm using my Natasha Denona number 1. Just gonna try this on my inner corner. I didn't feel like I was able to get a lot on my brush initially without going in several times. I'm definitely not wowed by that. I'm also kind of confused because it said that there was 2 duochromes, but I don't see any duochromes. I see some shimmery shades with some gold glitter in them, so I guess we'll find that out together when we do the swatches. So Risque took a little time to build up. I want to try out at least one more shimmer shade, or at least one more sparkly shade, so we'll go in with Sex Appeal. And I'm using a Sigma E25. This one seems to have a hard time picking up out of the pan as well. And that is not so pigmented. All right, so I'm gonna try spraying it so that hopefully we can build up that intensity. And there we go, she's there, she's pretty. I'm going to deepen up my corner again with some more Prestige because I feel like a lot of that kind of got covered up by the shimmer shade that I just applied. Then on my lower lash line, I'm just going to go in with the shade Provocative. That one is a true taupe. Or at least it looks that way in the pan. And I'm using my LR100. Then I'm going to use the purple shade Seductress right above it, right into my lash line. And this is just a random angled eyeliner brush. It's not really showing up at all. All right, friendos, the magic always happens with liner and lashes. I'm gonna go do that off camera and I'll be right back to you. All right, friendos, I'm back. I've got my lashes on and I wanna figure out if I can use one of these shades in here for a blush color. So I think I'm gonna pick out the mauve shade, and that is the shade Royale. I already have that down, you guys know. Yeah, I think that was the perfect blush color for this look. And friendos, while I gather my thoughts on this palette, I think we're going to segue into some swatches so you can see how these perform. I'll be right back to you guys. And now I think I'm ready to summarize based on what we learned so far today. Overall, I think for $45, this is not a bad palette. I think it's exactly what I would expect to pay for a $45 price point. Literally all of the mattes except for the darkest one were really high quality. I thought that they performed really well. The shimmers though, to be honest, they are a little bit lackluster. Also, I would not feel comfortable calling these two shades duochromes. I know that they have a slightly golden shift, but it really does make more sense to call this a shimmer shade with a golden reflect, because it's not like I would put this color down and move it around and think that something's a completely different color. No, you just see the little golden specks in the color, if that makes sense. Also, I really do like the aesthetic. Like, this is so pretty, sleek and chic. It's not overdone. I did not like the shade names. The names are not creative. I feel like they're just designed to be sort of shock value for the palette, but most of us have seen this 1,000 times before. We see it in Jeffree Star Cosmetics. We see it in NARS. We see it in NARS for sure. If I were the artist behind this, I definitely would change the names. I didn't think that the sparkly shades were that spectacular. Had I not had setting spray, I would have been really disappointed with these, to be honest. They just come off as more of a shimmer instead of a true sparkle. Again, though, I do think that the color story is beautiful. I think you'd be able to come up with a few cohesive looks with this palette if the color story is up your alley. And I guess we're gonna call it there, guys. Thank you all so much for choosing to spend your time here with me. I'm really glad that we got to try out the Artist Couture brand together. I wish you all a fabulous rest of your day. Please subscribe if you have not done so already, because if not, we'll both have to live in the sorrow of never knowing what could have been. All right, guys, have a great one. Bye. Bye.